Hispanic Heritage, Pioneers of Change, Shaping the Future Together. Sponsored by Drug Emporium.
Hispanics are proud, hardworking, creative, and have a rich heritage. In the Lone Star State and all across the country, Hispanics have worked to better themselves. Children who labored in fields alongside their parents dared to dream what seemed like impossible dreams. Many dreaming of reaching for the stars, and from one child's dream, persistence and dedication, one man found himself soaring high. Throughout history, Hispanics have fought for equality, many marching for better treatment and fighting for justice, with one woman's quest for justice leading her to a seat on the nation's highest court. As a whole, Hispanics are pioneers of change and are shaping the future together.
Well, good evening. Thanks for joining us for our special on Hispanic Heritage Month. I'm Adam Hooper.
And I'm MG Montemayor.
Throughout history, Hispanics and Latinos have helped pave the way for many generations to dream of a better tomorrow, to dream of enacting change, and to dream of a future where their children prosper. In 1968, Hispanic Heritage Week began under President Lyndon B. Johnson, a Texan in the White House. About 20 years later, President Ronald Reagan expanded the celebration to a month-long event. And a year after that, another Texan in the White House, President George H.W. Bush, officially declared September 15th to October 15th as National Hispanic Heritage Month.
That's right, and across the country, the month is celebrated with parades, concerts, fairs, and many more events. Hispanics recognize these 4 weeks as a time to honor history, embrace traditions, and recognize the achievements of previous generations. That's why it's only fitting these pioneers of change are recognized for shaping the future together.
Innovative, decorated, and distinguished, all understatements describing a military hero, the late Army 4-star General Richard Cavazos. For
Hispanic Heritage Month, we also honor him as a trailblazer, and it's all in a name change of our Central Texas Army post. Here's our Vince Erickson on Fort Cavazos.
MG, thank you. The name change may have been nearly a year and a half ago here on the largest Army post in our nation population-wise that calls Central Texas home. But the impact of the renaming of this proud post still has great impactful meaning, especially right now during National Hispanic Heritage Month. Let's get to know the late, great General Richard E. Cavazos.
Fort Hood is now officially Fort Cavazos.
What an historic day.
An historic move that resonated throughout the Hispanic community. Fort Hood, renamed Fort Cavazos, made official in this ceremony on May 9th of 2023, but took effect on September 5th of 2023. A fitting tribute to a man who rose from humble beginnings to become one of the highest-ranking Hispanic officers in the U.S. Army. In fact, the first Hispanic to earn the rank of 4-star general.
Now, given the importance of this installation for our Army and for our nation, I can think of no better namesake than General Richard Cavazos. Now, I did not know General Cavazos, but I wish I had.
Born in Kingsville, Texas in 1932, Cavazos was one of 11 children. Growing up during the Great Depression, he faced significant challenges, but overcame them through hard work and determination. Cavazos enlisted in the Army in 1951, serving in Korea and Vietnam. His exceptional leadership and combat skills earned him numerous awards and promotions, most notably the Distinguished Service Cross Citation and Silver Star during the Korean War in 1953, his second Distinguished Service Cross Citation during the Vietnam War in 1967. He became the first Hispanic to earn the rank of Brigadier General in 1976, and the first Hispanic to become a 4-star general in 1982. General Cavazos would retire from the U.S. Army in 1984 after 33 years of distinguished service. Applause for a career of hard work and perseverance. Anyone can achieve their dreams, and inspiration to many who took a similar path.
And I also want to point out that I myself, as a Texas native, grew up in El Paso, of similar Mexican-American heritage who also understood what it's like to grow up in these communities and to be a part of them. So it's a real privilege for me to be a part of honoring somebody with such a similar background.
And honoring the late General Cavazos for the authentic man he was.
And although General Cavazos is certainly worthy of all the pomp and circumstances of this special day, his family made very clear to us that he would have never wanted this recognition. He knew that there were many other deserving heroes whose names will never adorn an Army base and who never made it home from Korea or Vietnam. But this, in many ways, was who General Cavazos was. Selfless, without condition, motivated by a deep love for his family, his soldiers, and his country. And those values live on.
And as we reflect on the life and legacy of General Richard E. Cavazos, we are also reminded of his unwavering commitment to service, his courage in the face of adversity, and his long-lasting legacy and impact on not only the military community, but the Hispanic Latino community as well. On for Cavazos, I'm Vince Erickson. MG, back to you.
Thanks, Vince. General Cavazos died at the age of 88 in October of 2017 and was buried with full military honors at Fort Sam Houston National Cemetery in San Antonio.
That's right. Fort Cavazos is the U.S. Army's premier military installation where troops train and from where heavy forces deploy. This historic post was established in 1942 because land was needed to train troops for mounted warfare that was brought on by World War II. The Great Place, as it's come to be known, is indeed vast. The almost 215,000-acre installation is the only U.S. post capable of stationing and training 2 entire armored divisions. In addition, the rolling and semi-arid terrain of Central Texas is the perfect place where multifaceted training and testing of troops and military units can occur. The 340-square-mile area of Fort Cavazos is located in Bell and Coryell counties and is home to nearly 65,000 soldiers and their families. Fort Cavazos is home to numerous units, including 3 Corps, the 1st Army Division West, the 1st Cavalry Division, the 504th Battlefield Surveillance Brigade, 85th Civil Air Affairs Brigade, 1st Medical Brigade, and the 69th Air Defense Artillery Brigade. On Fort Cavazos, there's also the Carl R. Darnell Army Medical Center, plus many other units. As another Hispanic Heritage Month winds down, many Hispanic Americans are reminding people that Hispanic history should never be forgotten, regardless of the month. That's right. Fox 44's PJ Hessner spoke with the museum chairman of the Waco Hispanic Museum about how he intends to keep that history alive.
For years, museum chairman Luis Garcia says it was almost impossible to find even a hint of Latino history here. It's history he wants to discover, preserve, and share for generations to come.
We look in the books and look in history books, and there's not much evidence that we've ever existed here.
Garcia was born and raised in Central Texas. His lifelong mission is telling the stories about Waco's Hispanic community.
But that's going to take time, and that's what needs to be done.
In 2016, the Hispanic Museum opened its doors. Locals donated items from Latinos who settled in Central Texas many decades ago.
The Hispanics owned this territory back in the days when Mexico owned the territory in the 1700s, 1800s. People like La Vega School over here, Ocampo, Sanchez, Martinez, they owned all the property in Waco and along the Brazos.
Today, artifacts line the shelves. Photos document families working on cotton farms. The vibrant mariachi jackets and pants fill what were once empty walls, all unraveling stories of Waco's past.
A photograph, speaks 1,000 words, and so we still have a lot of photographs that we need to identify and put names and numbers with, and so I think that would tell the story more than anything in the few articles that we may have collected.
Garcia is proud to know he's one of the first to document this history.
Special place to me, with all the hard work that I've done and all the people that I've talked to, is very important.
But his work isn't done. He's on a mission to uncover more Latino history.
I think everybody has a story to tell. We all have a unique story. You know, and that's the important thing, to try to get those stories out, because some people don't think their stories are that important, but they may be a hope for somebody else.
The Waco Hispanic Museum is located at 2815 Spate Avenue in the same building as the South Waco Recreation Center.
Now to a few notable trailblazers within the Hispanic community who paved the way for many others to follow. Cesar Chavez, born in the late 1920s, was an American labor leader and civil rights activist. He co-founded the National Farm Workers Association, which later merged with the Agricultural Workers Organization Committee to become the United Farm Workers Labor Union. Chavez was born in Yuma, Arizona, to a Mexican-American family, and he was a manual laborer before spending 2 years in the U.S. Navy. While alive, controversy surrounded Chavez. Critics of the UFW claimed he was too controlling, citing the purges of those who seemed disloyal. He became an icon for organized labor and leftist groups in the U.S. Posthumously, he became a folk saint among Mexican Americans. In 1994, he posthumously received the Presidential Medal of Freedom.
U.S. Justice Sonia Sotomayor is another great example in the Hispanic community. Nominated by President Barack Obama in 2009, Sotomayor is the first woman of color, the first Hispanic, and the first Latina to serve on the Supreme Court. Sotomayor was born in the Bronx to Puerto Rican parents. She graduated summa cum laude from Princeton University in 1976 and received her Juris Doctor from Yale Law School in 1979. Sotomayor was nominated to the U.S. District Court for the Southern District of New York by President George H.W. Bush in 1991. In 1997, she was nominated by President Bill Clinton to the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Second Circuit. And finally, in May of 2009, President Barack Obama nominated Sotomayor to the Supreme Court following the retirement of Justice David Souter. While on the court, Sotomayor has supported the informal liberal bloc of justices.
And then there's Roberto Clemente, who was a Puerto Rican professional baseball player who played 18 seasons in Major League Baseball for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Born in Carolina, Clemente was a track and field star and an Olympic hopeful in his youth before deciding to turn his full attention to baseball. He was the National League Most Valuable Player in 1966, the National League batting leader for several years with 3,000 hits during his major league career. Sadly, the two-time World Series champion died in December of 1972 while working to help people in need. A plane he had chartered crashed while taking emergency relief goods to the survivors of a massive earthquake in Nicaragua. In 1973, Clemente was posthumously inducted into the National Baseball Hall of Fame, becoming the first inductee from the Caribbean and Latin America.
Coming up, we tell you the story of one Waco PD officer who never believed he'd get to don the badge.
Also, we share the story of a 5-time Grammy-winning Central Texan who's become a legend in Tejano music.
You're watching Hispanic Heritage, Pioneers of Change, Shaping the Future Together. Brought to you by Drug Emporium.
Hey, welcome back. The mission of the City of Waco's Police Department is to provide police services with integrity, professionalism, accountability, and respect. Officers preserve life and property and enforce the law with the framework of the Constitution.
That's right. In addition, police officers work in partnership with the community and are good stewards of the public's trust and resources. The men and women in blue who take the oath to protect and serve do so knowing they will perform valuable services that will improve the quality of life for thousands of people. One of those men proudly wearing the badge is Manuel Esqueda, or Manny as he's known by his friends, has learned that being Hispanic is helping him work his beat because he's able to communicate with some people in their native tongue.
It takes a lot of courage to put on this uniform.
Buenas tardes.
Manuel Esqueda of the Waco Police Department never thought he'd have that honor today.
That's not possible. I'm probably going to be something else. Never a police officer. It would have never crossed my mind.
It started out as a joke between him and his brother.
It was at a point where we got the letter, you know, that, hey, you guys are approved for the academy.
And a commitment was made.
You can't turn back now, right? I'm already in here, so yeah, went through the academy and here I am now.
His family moved back to Mexico when Manuel was just 6 months old, and moving to the States again when he was 7 years old, where his parents and grandparents were migrant farm workers.
He would show me, look, these are the farms that I used to pick oranges, or I used to pick this, or we used to plant lettuce here and do that. And it was just nice seeing that now growing up, because I can put myself and envision what they used to do and their sacrifice to get us where we're at right now.
Hard work and dedication has been instilled in Manuel, and didn't take long for him to realize his Hispanic heritage will play a huge role in patrolling the South Waco beat.
Okay. Pero lo que le pegó no fue la ven, sino la tabla. Being a Spanish-speaking officer, I would fit in better for the betterment of the city and the citizens, to assist them in Spanish calls. Yeah. As soon as I started speaking Spanish, you could see the relief in their face, where they start opening up and they're more comfortable speaking to me in their language.
He especially enjoys getting the opportunity to educate those who might think they can't call the police when they're in need.
Regardless of your legal status, regardless of language, we are here to assist all the citizens of the community of Waco.
His fellow officers who don't speak Spanish are just as grateful.
She was driving. She was driving, yeah, but he's the one that...
Helping his community comes naturally.
I love it. I tell people all the time, it doesn't even feel like a job.
Even though he never thought policing was in his future,
I would do it all over again.
He wouldn't change it for the world.
It's not easy, but it's definitely worth it. It's worth it. Exactamente.
Well, Officer Esqueda is clearly an inspiration to all who know him.
And what many people don't know is that being a police officer isn't what Officer Esqueda started out doing. Up until he entered the police academy, he worked behind the scenes, get this, in TV.
Wow.
MG. He's a highly skilled engineer. But when he received his calling, he answered and hasn't looked back.
That's wonderful. Well, at this time, according to the city of Waco, there are 291 sworn officers serving a population of more than 145,000, and 16.5% of officers employed by the city are Hispanic.
In 2022, in its annual report to the city of Temple, the police department showed 145 sworn officers, of which 8% of those being Hispanic. All of these officers are responsible for the safety and well-being of more than 93,000 people.
In its annual report to the city last year, the Killeen Police Department consisted of 223 sworn officers, with 7 being Hispanic. As a whole, these officers protect and serve almost 160,000 Killeen residents.
Nationally, Data USA reported in 2022, 17.2% of police officers in the U.S. were Hispanic, and that as an ethnic group, they've been joining the ranks of law enforcement at a higher rate than other racial or ethnic groups. Coming up, how a local nonprofit is helping young Hispanic Americans to become more comfortable in the community.
Also, we share the story of a 5-time Grammy-winning Central Texan who has become a legend in Tejano music.
You're watching Hispanic Heritage, Pioneers of Change, Shaping the Future Together. Brought to you by Drug Emporium.
Welcome back. Well, did you know that the Hispanic population makes up around 30% of the population and is growing?
Yeah, with that kind of growth comes help from the Hispanic population to make this a great place to live. We're talking about a program from a local nonprofit to help young people get comfortable with and in their community. Once again, here's Vince Erickson.
Sights and sounds from Navegando, which means navigating.
Cuando recién llegué.
It's a program initiated and funded by the Hispanic Leaders Network at both of Waco ISD's high schools to meet the needs of a growing, diverse, and energetic Hispanic community.
Our program really consists of monthly meetings with the teachers that help us get the students there, great support from administration. And so what we do is invite different speakers to come and talk with them. And it could be anywhere from lawyers or bankers, the police department, just to give them some ideas of what they do. We've had professors and women scientists. So we want our students to be exposed to different things that they can aspire to.
Here at University High School, we found 2 students directly impacted by the Hispanic Leaders Network's flagship program.
Meet sophomore Jesus Eroque and freshman Aisha Rohel, together walking toward big goals, both getting different benefits from the program.
Before the program, I had a lot of trouble communicating. For example, when I feel nervous, my English doesn't come out the way I want it to. That becomes an issue in the classroom since I didn't know how to communicate with my teachers. I didn't know how to ask them for help with activities that I didn't understand because of that language barrier. But as of now, that problem's being resolved.
I want to do engineer, and they help me to know the codes and how months. We go to college, the HTC. They help me in my class and the university, the college I want to go. And they help me in the WAMA. I want to go to WAMA next year. They help me a lot in this class.
Oh, definitivamente se parece. Oh, qué bien.
As a principal, it makes me feel as if my job is being met, which is to meet the needs of our students. We have students that can relate to people that come in, that have expired or even come from backgrounds that they've experienced and gone on to do great things within the community in which we serve.
Con un caldo café que no se miraba que era.
When they get to see these speakers, they're Latino speakers, they're Spanish speakers. Some have immigrated from Honduras, some immigrated from Mexico, and they say, yeah, I came to a new country, I was able to learn the language, I was able to go to school, I was able now to be a professional, whether it's a lawyer or a professor or a scientist or whatever it is. So you're not limited. And these are very empowering stories that gives the students a chance to say, hey, you know what, I did it, they did it, I can do this. So that's what we want. We want them to just explore the possibilities.
¿Quién falta que ya?
Possibilities, the students say, center around being their authentic selves and belonging.
The best experience I've had so far, well, that I've made lots of friends. Even now, those who speak English are engaging with me, and I'm able to communicate back and create friendships. They're interested in talking to me, and that's an incredible thing.
They prepare me for my future, and the money I like too.
Y fue la primera vez que dije.
We're sowing seeds. The journey is theirs, but we want to give them the tools, we want to give them the resources, we want to give them that,
Thanks, Vince. The Hispanic Leaders Network awarded 6 scholarships to Waco ISD high school seniors, totaling $5,000.
Yeah, and those 6 students you just saw are now freshmen at McLennan Community College and TSTC as collegiate freshmen. We're more than halfway through Hispanic Heritage Month, and the Hispanic Leaders Network is devoted to engaging the community by sharing the beauty of their culture and reconnecting with their roots. Ileana Newman says there was a time in Waco where in order to be successful, you needed to blend in and assimilate. She believes now we're in a better place.
Our community has been through a lot, some really tough times, but it's a community that's founded on strength and resilience, because what we bring to the table, what we bring to the bigger community is, again, a tradition of strength, resilience, family, love, acceptance. This isn't about one community being better than the other. This is about all of us having gifts to share.
She says the culture contributes even more love and energy to the community and is something they welcome everyone to.
National Hispanic Heritage Month has special meaning for Dr. Liz Palacios, a key gatekeeper for the Central Texas Latino community. She's a San Antonio native who has over 40 years experience in higher education.
She earned her bachelor's and master's degrees from Baylor and her PhD in school psychology from UT Austin in 2002. Dr. Palacios joins in to tell us how close she holds National Hispanic Heritage Month in her heart.
So Hispanic Heritage Month means a lot to me and many of my family and friends. It's a chance to celebrate who we are, to bring in the richness of what we bring to our communities, to bring in and appreciate our language, our foods, our culture, our celebrations, whatever that we do. We want to be authentic. And we are proud of who we are, where we've come from. And the opportunity to celebrate and to share, to educate others around us, it's a beautiful, rich culture. and to remember how diverse it is, because we are not all the same even from the same countries. So to learn and to create curiosity, with the people around us who don't know and understand who we truly are. There's no one way to be Hispanic or Latino. There's no one way to present. So that's why it's so important during the celebration and throughout the year, is to get to learn about each other, to ask questions. No assumptions, no presumptions, just an opportunity for the month to celebrate through music and food and different events. So hopefully you will have an opportunity to go and to learn more about yourself, to learn more about different cultures, and definitely come away with some exciting and pride and understanding of what it's like to be a Latino in our community.
Another well-known contributor to the Hispanic community is the League of United Latin American Citizens, or LULAC. LULAC was founded in 1929, making it the oldest Hispanic civil rights organization in the U.S. The League was created at a time in our country's history when Hispanics were denied basic civil and human rights, despite contributions to American society.
Locally, the Syntex Hispanic Chamber of Commerce strives to unite the Hispanic community here in Central Texas. Since their origin in 1975, chamber members and volunteers focus on promoting the economic, educational, and social development of the business community in Waco and all over Central Texas.
The Hispanic Women's Network of Texas, or HWNT, has been supporting Texas Hispanic women since 1987. Beginning in Dallas, the organization has been involved in the mobilization of hundreds of women seeking to make a difference in their respective communities. And decades later, HWNT members continue creating positive change through volunteer programs and partnerships, advancing educational, cultural, social, and economic needs. Coming up, we share the story of a 5-time Grammy-winning Central Texan who has become a legend in Tejano music.
Also, we share the story of a Mexican-American man who shot for the stars and made a huge impact back home.
You're watching Hispanic Heritage, Pioneers of Change, Shaping the Future Together. Brought to you by Drug Emporium.
Music holds the key to many things: inspiration, hope, and the ability to bring back memories with just a simple melody. For one Waco radio station, giving the Hispanic and Latino community those feelings became their central mission nearly 2 decades ago. Parker Ream has the story.
Un sabor de casa. A taste of home is the service that Lele 1041 has provided the Hispanic community for the good part of over 2 decades.
We are loved by our pretty much all the Hispanics in Central Texas because we play their music, give them especially the ones that are from Mexico, we give them a taste of home.
Jaime Martinez has been with the radio station since Lele first hit the airwaves in 2005, helping carve a path for listeners to hear their favorite classics.
Especially like my grandmother would listen to radio stations on the AM all the way from Mexico here. And there were no local radio stations, so she would listen and I would hear songs, and now they're older, but when we play them, it brings back memories.
We have a segment on La Ley at the 11 o'clock, and it's called Las Clásicas de La Ley, which is really the classics of La Ley. But the 90% of the songs I remember listening growing up as my dad was working out in the shop or working in the yard or barbecuing in the backyard. So it's definitely very nostalgic to listen to these songs as you're hearing them.
While the music is enough to get anyone humming a tune, Lele continued to expand its product past just the music.
You definitely have seen the progression over the last several years. I think even when I first started, it was more of a music company just to provide entertainment and gossip, things of that sort.
Over the next 19 years, Lele 1041 became one of the most reputable and trusted radio stations for the Spanish-speaking community here in Central Texas.
We definitely have been a foundation and a source of help for our Spanish-speaking community. Knowing full well that maybe all of our listeners are not here legally or something of that sort, but it still gives them an opportunity to be able to be informed and ask questions without being penalized for it.
Lele tackled issues like immigration and rights for the Hispanic community, giving a voice to a previously voiceless Hispanic population.
Facing some of the racism, talk about those issues, and we continue to speak about it. We continue to give a voice to the Hispanic community.
But to know that we just played a small part in giving back to the community, I think that's the most rewarding piece that one can have.
So as we continue to celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month, Lele 104 asks you to come together, turn the radio dial, and escucha la música.
I think that's what LA has done, is brought people together, give an experience that will last them for years to come.
Amazing. Well, if you listen to most any Spanish radio, you've probably heard the soulful sounds of a Central Texas native who has won 5 Grammys. In his first interview since battling a life-threatening health scare, I sat down with the legend himself, Little Joe Hernandez, the king of the brown sound, who is still filled with beautiful music and a humble spirit.
I had no idea when I recorded that song the impact that it would have in my career.
That song, Las Nubes, catapulted Little Joe into icon status.
Si voy a seguir sufriendo, if I'm going to keep on suffering, mejor quisiera morir. I'd much rather die than to continue suffering.
It's a tribute to working class people everywhere.
It's a song about anguish and reviving the soul and determination and resilience.
It's a song about his family, his community, his life.
Si voy a seguir sufriendo, mejor quisiera morir. All the humility, humiliation that was cast upon them, the discrimination, segregation, and racism that they had to endure, my parents, so that I could have something better than they did. I was born in a 3-wall car garage, third floor, so that's a long ways up.
He says life was hard, but beautiful. It's what made him who he is. Picking cotton right alongside his parents, Salvador and Amelia de Leon Hernandez, who taught him the value of hard work.
Seen my mother picking cotton when she was pregnant, as a kid. I thought, well, that's the way things are, and I never felt poor.
It also gave him the strength to fight back against all the negative noise coming from outside his community.
We, the dirty, lazy Mexicans that I was called as a kid, look at construction, look at the buildings that La Raza have built. We built this country, we helped build this country, and we're still lazy Mexicans.
That passion is where his music comes from.
I was raised in a totally black neighborhood. All the music I heard from the bars and in my friends' homes, which is black music of the times. That's part of my DNA.
And then there's his family. Being one of 13 children, La Familia has always been a huge influence.
My older brothers would buy records from the 30s, from the jazz bands, from the swing bands, from the orchestras.
You put it all together and it became clear a career in music was inevitable. At 13 years old, Little Joe became a part of his cousin's band, Little Joe and the Latinaires. Then in 1959, Little Joe y La Familia was born, where those early years of beauty and hardship in Central Texas turned into Grammy gold.
Is there something, a line or a lyric that maybe has never been recorded that you could sing or say?
Well, yes. I'm glad you asked. I was in London, and I flashed back from the cotton fields. This little country boy in downtown London. Now I'm here in London town. I'm alone, but I'm not down, 'cause my heart is still with you. That happened there. And
beautiful. And you've never recorded it?
Yeah, I've never recorded it.
Now at 83, we are reminded that huge heart of his is still human. This is his first interview since emergency heart surgery in August.
Are you feeling okay? What's your status as far as post-surgery?
They discovered I had a blockage in one of my major arteries, 96 to 99%. From the stress test, they took me to surgery, and I have an implant. A stent was placed in me. But I'm feeling well.
Good enough to dance, in fact, appropriately in the city where he grew up. 5 Grammys and 70 albums later, Little Joe has never lost that humble little boy.
Whoever thought I'd be dancing with a beautiful girl in my backyard?
Oh my God, you're amazing, Little Joe.
Born in a Central Texas garage, a life and a heritage he couldn't be more proud of.
The Tejano music legend dedicated his first Grammy to his brother Jesse, the biggest motivator in his career, who passed away when he was just 20 years old. Little Joe was also recognized in 2023 as a National Heritage Fellow by the National Endowment for the Arts, the nation's highest honor in the folk and traditional arts. And of course, when talking about Hispanic music, you can't not bring up the Queen of Tejano herself, Selena. Born in Freeport, her contributions to music and fashion made her one of the most celebrated Mexican-American entertainers of the late 20th century. In 2020, Billboard magazine put her in 3rd place on their list of greatest Latino artists of all time. Her hit songs Como la Flor, Baila Esta Cumbia, and of course, Bidi Bidi Bom Bom shot her to the top of Billboard's Hot Latin Songs chart, with 7 of her songs earning the #1 spot. Her life tragically came to an end after she was shot and killed by Yolanda Salvidar in Corpus Christi at only 23 years old. And from one famous Selena to another, Selena Gomez is a household name to many of us. The Grand Prairie native has made headlines over the years due to her acting and singing careers, the announcement of her lupus diagnosis, and most recently becoming a billionaire. Gomez began her impressive career in 2002 on Barney and Friends, but her breakout role would come from The House of Mouse as teenage witch Alex Russo in Wizards of Waverly Place. And the former Disney star is currently playing a lead role in the Emmy-nominated series Only Murders in the Building, alongside acting legends Martin Short and Steve Martin. And now going back to Tejano royalty with El Rey de Rodeo, Emilio Navarra, better known as simply Emilio. Born in San Antonio, Emilio was raised on both Tejano music and American country music, listening to legends from both genres like Willie Nelson, George Strait, and Little Joe y La Familia. Emilio was often referred to as the Garth Brooks of Tejano and even put on a few country albums. His most well-known song, It's Not the End of the World, is from one of those albums. From music stars to the stars above, during the late 1960s and into the 70s, Jose Hernandez had one dream as a child, and that was to become a NASA astronaut. But belonging to a family of migrant farm workers, his dream seemed as far away as the stars he longed to visit.
That's right. Eventually, Jose graduated from high school and later also became a college graduate, but he was still holding on to his childhood dream of reaching for the stars. While it took him a dozen times to be accepted into the NASA's space program, Jose Hernandez, his will and determination didn't let rejection after rejection stop him.
And remembering his Hispanic roots, he dug deep and persevered, finally achieving his goal of wearing that NASA spacesuit. While never forgetting his past of working in the fields of California, his time in Texas clearly molded him into a pioneer of change as she shaped the future for future generations.
So, what's your big goal, dream?
I want to be an astronaut.
In 2009, astronaut Jose Hernandez saw his dream come true, travel to space as a member of NASA's STS-128 mission.
Farm worker, migrant, astronaut.
But his path wasn't like that of most astronauts. NASA rejected him 11 times before making him an astronaut. Now his life story is a movie.
Convince yourself that you belong. And because that's what I did. I would convince myself, yes, I belong here. I just gotta work hard, but I belong here.
A Million Miles Away tells the story of Hernandez, who grew up picking cucumbers and cherries, but kept his eyes trained on the stars.
I certainly remember the moments in the film as I lived them back then.
Jose Hernandez was born August the 7th, 1962 in French Camp, California. His parents were Mexican immigrant migrant workers, and despite being born in California, Jose Hernandez didn't learn English until he was 12 years old. But still, his parents prioritized his education by making sure he completed his homework and studied consistently. Once he completed his studies, Hernandez landed a job with Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory in 1987. After groundbreaking work, he landed a job here in Texas as NASA Materials Research Engineer at Houston's Johnson Space Center. After applying for 12 straight years to enter the program,
I've applied to the space program 12 times, and I've been on the verge of giving up after each and every rejection. But you know what, sir? Here I am. So you could turn me down again, but rest assured, I'll be standing here again in a year.
Hernandez was long last headed to space.
I thought it was very important that that people know that even though you reach to be a U.S. NASA astronaut, you still go through those self-doubt feelings.
His mission wasn't over when he returned from space. After, quote, seeing the Earth without borders from space, he became a voice for comprehensive immigration reform, arguing that undocumented workers play an important role in the U.S. economy.
You don't have to be anybody else, you just have to be yourself and feel good about your origins, who you are.
Who better to leave this planet and dive into the unknown than a migrant farm worker?
Coming up, her life of service started at a young age in third world countries. Next, we'll share the story of Dr. Anna Crew.
Also, a mural painted by a local artist in honor of Hispanic heritage is turning heads.
You're watching Hispanic Heritage, Pioneers of Change, Shaping the Future Together. Brought to you by Drug Emporium.
Welcome back. Dr. Anna Crew is the next highlight in our Hispanic Heritage series. She was born to Brazilian Portuguese-speaking parents whose life work surrounded serving others in third world countries. At a very young age, Dr. Crew got an early education in the medical field, bridging the gap of different languages and sharing the love of God. I had a chance to talk with her about her amazing story of service. Listen.
I would go over to help my parents when they would do their mission work. Then I could be, useful and helpful, because the mission work was not just what my parents did, it's what my whole family did.
Dr. Anna Crew is currently a doctor for Baylor Scott & White in Waco.
Take a deep breath for me.
But her story started in countries like Peru and Mexico. Born into a Brazilian Portuguese-speaking family, Dr. Crew, her mom and dad, and her brothers traveled all over to serve.
Me and my brothers would be teaching little kids the Bible stories, and we would be leading worship in the church.
Starting kindergarten in a foreign country. For as early as she can remember, the family foundation, Amor en Acción, or Love in Action, that's what they did. Dr. Crew's father played the guitar and was a pastor. Her mom played the piano and taught Sunday school. But serving the underserved communities in other countries didn't stop with their spiritual needs. Her father was also a nurse and her mom a dentist. Dr. Crew got involved there as well. She's seen here with her mom helping attend to the dental needs of a community.
So I stepped in and I was my mom's dental assistant for a long time, for probably until I was like 12.
But when doctors started being recruited by Amor en Acción, it was then that a future doctor found her passion for the profession.
There were American physicians that would come and they would need a translator, or they would need also an assistant to help them be able to write the prescriptions in Spanish. And so then I sort of like hopped on to from the dental side to the medical side. And then I just like fell in love with it.
In the midst of a mission field, spreading the word of God while working to stop the spread of illness, an aspiring doctor was born. Today, while the location has changed, Dr. Crew's message of hope and positivity and her desire to serve has remained the same.
To me, the mission field is not specific to third world countries, right? The need is everywhere. So this is my mission field. So Waco is the place that I have chosen to serve people. And so this is where God has brought me, and I'm going to just bloom where he has planted me.
Now, aside from her family medicine practice, Dr. Crew also teaches at the Baylor College of Medicine in Temple, training the next generation of doctors. And if that's not all, Dr. Crew played some soccer in college. She liked it. So get this, she joined she's a member now of the Hispanic Women's League right here in Waco.
Wow.
Pretty cool. Coming up, a mural painted by a local artist in honor of Hispanic heritage. It's turning heads.
You're watching Hispanic Heritage, Pioneers of Change, Shaping the Future Together. Brought to you by Drug Emporium.
Welcome back. Well, in honor of Hispanic Heritage Month, a new piece of art has been painted on the side of a Waco restaurant.
That's right. Fox 44's Zoria Goodley spoke with the artist about what inspired him to paint the mural.
Meet Tony Bryant, the local artist working on this piece, showcasing Hispanic culture for this establishment, and happy to do so.
It makes me feel good because I'm doing it for people that appreciate me, and I'm working with people that appreciate me.
The owner of Mexicano Grill, Orlando Leon, explained how Bryant came to him with this idea and is making it come to life. And as people come to the restaurant, they admire the execution of their culture on the building.
It's the most beautiful thing I've seen. It has topped all the paintings that I have seen on her. Beautiful.
Frida Kahlo was a Mexican painter best known for her unique self-portraits highlighting identity and the human body, and well known for her use of color in her work. As Tony adds the finishing touches to the mural, his goal was to be sure he expresses everything well, hoping that when people look at this art, they can imagine themselves as a part of Frida Kahlo in the entire mural, providing a sense of comfort and joy.
If you ever want to be able to express the beauty inside of yourself, hang around people that appreciate you. Those people give you all the energy, all the inspiration, the love, the joy, everything you need.
And surrounding himself with those type of people is what got Tony to where he is today. As a child, his aunt would have him paint pictures around the house, sparking the inspiration to become an artist.
I used to paint pictures for her in the middle of the floor. And from then on, it just became a hobby, and then it turned into a career.
Tony attended art school in Atlanta, Georgia. His work is now spread across Texas and eventually brought him to Waco, where his first murals were for another local restaurant.
He allowed me to use his building to display my art, to show the different styles and techniques that I could do. And every time I would paint something, someone would go by there and see it, and this is the result of it.
By creating this mural, Bryant wanted to show the importance of acknowledging and appreciating all cultures.
Well, the mural is now complete for locals to observe and appreciate. I still got to go check that out.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
It looks just like Frida Kahlo.
It sure does.
Amazing.
I always wonder how people take a picture and then blow it up and put it on the side of a wall, and it still looks beautiful.
I know. It's just amazing. Her eyebrows, he got the whole look. I love it.
The whole look. And I like what he said. Surround yourself by people who appreciate you, and you'll be successful. I like that.
So we can certainly appreciate all of the contributions and influences the Hispanic people have made throughout history. From seeing footprints and hearing their melodies in the areas of arts and entertainment, to their important advocacy work, to savoring traditional foods, and so much more.
And you got to dance with a 5-time Grammy winner. What
Isn't
do you
he
think about
amazing?
that?
Amazing. This guy still has moves, and he performs once a week still. He goes on tour.
Even sang for it. Got a little private show.
Yeah, a little private show.
You got the good story in this one.
It was amazing. It's so much fun, but you know, we'll have to meet him together. He's like just the most awesome, big-hearted guy you'll ever meet.
He looks like a hard worker too.
A hard worker. You know, he never left Texas. He was like, I'm not moving to California. I'm staying put here in Temple. That's my roots.
You got him to sing a song that he never recorded. So. I bet there's more of that.
He got super emotional. I think it just hit him. I mean, from poverty, growing up on a dirt floor, to like, why am I in London with my tour group? And there are people who come out and see him. I mean, millions of people can appreciate his music. So I just feel like for him to be that humble, he stuck with his roots.
That's right.
So, I mean,
I got to interview Dr. Anna Cruz. So at a young age, she's in other countries. She said she went to kindergarten having to learn a new language just because her family was serving others with their medical needs and their spiritual needs as well. So.
Right, and she was, I think for her, just the work that she does abroad, it helps her like connect to like these impoverished countries. And so for her, that's just, I mean, she can put her services anywhere, but she, you know.
She's busy too, kicking that soccer ball around.
I know, good stuff there for sure.
All right, the U.S. today, the Hispanic population is well over 60 million, making up almost 19% of the total population. In addition, as a whole, Hispanics are the largest racial or ethnic group in the country.
That's right, and it's no wonder they fuel the economy and make our country stronger by being pioneers of change who are shaping the future together so future generations can thrive as entrepreneurs or any other profession they dare to dream of conquering.
Thanks for joining us.